VR is a massive waste of time and money. There, I said it. I don't care what you think. No. You can just sit there shouting, oh, no, it's not. It is. It is a massive waste of time and money for the video game industry. And if you're sitting there defending these stupid little black boxes that you put on your face as, it's the future, it's totally the future. Well, you know what? Future is dead on arrival. Absolutely stone cold dead. And we're going to go over why. Why is this dead on arrival? So, how did we get to this place? How did we get here again? Yeah, again. Because let's face it, virtual reality, panoramic photos, all this kind of stuff, stereoscopic photos and viewers, all of that stuff has been going on since the 1830s. Okay? This stuff isn't new. This stuff isn't revolutionary. It's been going on longer than anyone else could be listening to right now. Like, basically, no one alive to this day is listening to this saying, I remember when I was a youngster in the 1830s. No, you weren't. Okay? So stereoscopic photos was pretty much the beginning point of it. It's like, oh, here's one of those stupid little boxes you put on your face, and if you put it in there, it makes the photo look all 3D. Oh, isn't that cool? Oh, yeah, this is really cool. Oh, brilliant. I'm just going to keep a photo in a photo album if that's all right, though. I don't really want to have to get out this little box just to view my photos. So, okay, didn't work in photos. Cinema gave it a shot. They had some fun with it. They did some stuff. I mean, that's going back into like about maybe again the 1930s when science fiction started bringing it all back in films and such and such. In the 1960s, first VR mounted headsets, all that kind of stuff. It's been going on for a long bloody time, and no one's got it right. I mean, hell, in the 1968, a man by the name of, I believe it's Irvin Sutherland. Well, him and his student Bob Sproul, sorry if I've pronounced your name wrong there, they created the first VR and augmented reality head-mounted display. Guess what it's called? It's quite a fitting name. They called it the Sword of Damocles. If you don't know what the Sword of Damocles is, it's essentially this perpetual threat that is constantly over your head, just waiting for the right time to just take you out. That's it in a nutshell. And if you Google an image of Ivan Sutherland's Sword of Damocles VR AR head-mounted display, well, you'd be kind of surprised how similar it is to the Vive. Yeah, the headset itself isn't exactly, but it's got the room sensors, it's got the area requirement, and it's got this arm that attaches directly to your head. I don't know why, but so this is just stuff that's been going on for years. It went on through the 90s, where there was a massive boom for the 90s because Lawnmower Man came out and sort of made everyone think, oh, virtual reality, that looks really, really cool. And then, of course, Sega tried it on in 1993 when they have announced their VR glasses. I didn't see them. Who cares about them, basically? And then, of course, the one everyone knows about, Virtual Boy. And, you know, if that's what they consider virtual reality, I'll eat my hat. It's more just a 3D graphics set of glasses that you could just take with you. And, well, everyone knows the Matrix, but that isn't really what we're on about because that's directly jacking your head into a computer and all that nonsense. No. 1999, VR died. Everyone lost interest in it. It went away. But now it's back. It is back, and it wants payback. It wants everyone to know it's back. It is hitting harder now. It is being pushed harder now than any other time I can think of. And it's just so in your face all the time. Improve your gameplay experiences, make things better, do this, do that. What does it offer? I've tried the Sony headset. You can go to game, you can pay £15 to go half an hour on it. You might not say that's enough time. I thought it was plenty of time because I was bored to tears by that point. What is it? You're playing a game, oh, you're shooting the gun, you're shooting the bang, bang, booms, and you want to reload your gun. Okay, do you press a button to do it? No, you grab the clip from the other thing with the stupid Motion Plus controllers, which are back. Yeah, sort of a stealth resurrection of this crap. So, boom, back in it goes. Clip yourself in, and bang, 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 and it's just a rail shooter. It's a tech demo, okay? That's all VR has going for it right now, is tech demos. There aren't actual games that are being made with VR from the ground up. There are a couple of that managed to integrate it into them post-launch, and we'll get onto that later. But really, this stuff has so much price to entry. It has so much hidden requirements that are just not announced for everyone. You have to do some deep research into this crap. In fact, the only one, I'll give it a credit, the only one that actually does what it says on the tin and provides you with what you need, apart from a graphics card, is the HTC Vive. It gives you the sensors, it gives you the little weird hand controllers, it gives you the headset, which looks absolutely atrocious. It's an ugly black box. It's just, I don't like it. But they are so insanely overpriced. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. When they were announcing this stuff, they were originally putting it around the 200 to just under the 300 mark. And then, well, when they come out, HTC Vive is £759, which is just ridiculous, but that includes everything. The Oculus Rift on its own was about $599. Just to keep that in mind, we're just talking dollars on this one. But again, that's the headset, and it gives you the arm and a Xbox One controller. Okay, brilliant, fine, thanks for that. But now you're making a special set of controllers for it that costs $200, so it brings it up to the same price as a HTC Vive in dollars and pound conversion. Basically, $800, 750 odd quid. Well, who's going to pay that? Who's going to pay these ridiculous sums of money to get a toy? Because that's all they are. They are a toy. They are literally a fad. Because that's all they've ever been throughout history. Ever since in the early 1830s, they're a gimmick. They are a complete gimmick. It's like that. Oh, so let's stick with the HTC and the Oculus Rift for just a moment. Well, what do you need? First off, you need a PC that can run them. Okay, what does that mean? First off, you need a graphics card that can support it, and the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum, is either a GTX 970 or the R9 Fury X. Okay, right, so it's a fair old price point there, about, let's see, let's round it up, let's average it a bit, 250 quid, about that, you know, give or take. Price drops here and there, sales, you know, it's just some of those. We're just going to leave that out the equation for a little bit. So, need a PC that can run it, which instantly limits your consumer base. When you limit your consumer base, you cannot be expecting to sell big numbers. Because let's face it, even the 970 is considered the most popular graphics card on average, but not many people have gaming rig PCs that can fully support virtual reality. They don't have the means to keep the frame rate up and have a decent resolution within the glasses. They don't have the power to make it work for the consumer. So what do you need? You theoretically may need to get a better graphics card, which means more money on top of what you've already spent to get your Oculus Rift complete set or whatever, and or the HTC Vive of fucking disgusting looks. So it's, oh god, it's just ridiculous, because you need to maintain a smooth frame rate. with the VR glasses. If the frame rate drops, it's how you notice it is far, far more prevalent than on, say, a monitor or anything like that. Because when you've got two screens sellotaped to your face, you kind of notice drops in performance. And God help you if one doesn't keep up with the other. I don't even know if that's a potential flaw, but there have been some cases where, for some reason, when it's trying to render both these images, one of them can't keep up with the other. I think that might be a firmware problem, which may be sorted out at some point, but then again, that's kind of the video game industry in a whole at the moment, isn't it? We'll sort it out later. We'll just get it on the shop floor. We'll just get it out there. We'll just put it out there, and we're done. We're done. Yeah, we'll fix it later. But we just need to get the sales going first. Yes, the sales. We must focus on the sales, the sales. Oh, God. Also, if you suffer from any kind of motion sickness at all, car motion sickness, can't handle a boat, walking down the street, playing any first-person shooter on a regular monitor, don't bother. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. It's not worth it. And if you're sitting on the fence thinking, oh, well, maybe if I have a Seasick tablet or something beforehand, think about what you've just said, that you've had to have a tablet to play games. You require medication to play the game. I don't mean to be rude. If you love this hobby as much as I do, you're going to do whatever it takes to keep doing it. But I personally do not suggest that if you don't suffer with motion sickness when playing games normally, you then get onto a headset and you feel sick, stop. Just get a refund on the thing. The technology isn't there for everyone yet. It's not your thing. And don't put yourself through it. Don't make yourself ill doing something you love. It's not worth it. And it's definitely not worth nearly $800 fucking or 750 quid. It's not worth it. It'll never, ever be worth it. And then, of course, have I got the space to actually run it? I mean, the HTC Vive requires a ridiculous play space. I didn't even bother looking up the figures, because it's just a case of, well, if I need an area that's bigger than my room in order to play it standing, because most of the games for some reason want you to be standing up. I don't want to play a game standing up. I don't want to play a game moving about and leaning over and doing all this stuff. I play games to slob out. I play games to have just a little bit of fun. I sort of lay on the sofa upside down whilst playing a bit of Salt and Sanctuary or something. Just want to have a bit of fun, just to unwind after a long day. I don't want to have to go through a regime of plugging in the headset, blunging it on, bloody, but just to play a game. I just want to turn on my TV or my good monitor, which, by the way, a really good monitor, something in the 144Hz mode, way better investment than a stupid headset. Just saying. But you know what? I can't really be upset about with people that have gone out and bought a HTC Vive, an Oculus Rift, the Sony VR. I can't really blame you for doing it, because, let's face it, these things were overhyped to crap. I mean, they were pushing this thing super, super, super hard, and a lot of hype built up to it. In fact, it was well and truly overhyped on release. Like, on reflection, this stuff was overhyped to a ridiculous degree. And as far as I'm concerned with how hard it was pushed, it has under-delivered something fierce. Maybe there's one game that you can think of that is really effective with it. For me, it would be something like Elite Dangerous, because that is just tailored for virtual reality. You're in a cockpit, you're sitting still, and you're looking around. There. That's it. You're sorted. But to spend, again, these sums of money for one game to get a little bit extra immersion is just delusional. You're just delusional. You have more money than sense at that point. And this is more a video for people who have more sense than money. People who take that time to think about what's coming up. Thinking about what's being said. Listening, reading between the lines, doing some research. And just saying to themselves, not even being skeptical, just looking at it from an objective point of view, saying, I need to know what this actually offers. Because I was shocked at some of the things you hear people talking about, how they had these wild ideas of how it's not only going to be the next thing, it's going to be the only thing. It's going to be the only way to play games at this point. Here's a tip. It's not the holodeck. Okay? It's not. It will never be that. Stop it. Alright? Just stop that shit. You know, that really annoys me is when not the people bought it, but the companies. It's when the companies who sell this stuff they don't control it. They don't control the hype, they just want to generate it. And all they do is they sort of feed little bits of information and then just kind of let the communities build their ideas around it, build their expectations around this tiny little slither of information that could mean bloody anything. You know, they just say, they could just literally crap out a marketing line and just say, improve your immersive experiences. That's all they've said, and yet some people will take that to the point of, oh my god, I'm going to have the most immersive experience, whatever, and I'll never be able to go back. And they just let the consumer build it up in their mind, and they just keep going forward and forward and forward and forward until finally nothing is going to live up to the expectations that you have built yourself. Okay? This isn't new. This has happened very recently with a certain game that I'm not even going to bring up because I do not want any part of that shit show. Thank you very much. Oh, and a quick thing on that. With the guy recently announced that he's going to go work, one of the guys who worked on the game in question has gone to move to work on Star Citizen, and now people are freaking out that the game's going to get ruined. Yeah, that game's also being worked on by Behavioural Interactive, and if you look at their back library, you're kind of gonna be a little bit more take a step back from Star Citizen. I want Star Citizen to be fantastic. I mean, Jesus Christ, the amount of money that's been poured into it. the ridiculous amounts of money that have been poured into it. But I want that game to do well. But Behavioural Interactive is involved. I'm taking a step back because, well, won't get too much into Behavioural Interactive, but a couple of games that they've done that have kind of made me go, oh dear, is Naughty Bear and the Shadow of Mordor PlayStation 3 console port. I believe they did the Xbox 360 one as well. You know, the crap version. The broken version. The version that doesn't have the Nemesis system. Maintain your hype levels for Star Citizen. But getting back onto VR, getting back on topic, that was a sidetrack and a half. The problem with VR that I can see is we've seen this before. We've seen this with overhyped tech. We've seen this with... It's happened so many times. Do I have to mention the Kinect? Do I have to mention the Vita? Do I have to mention things that could have been that weren't? Do I have to sit here and explain what the death spiral is? I do, don't I? Yeah, I do. Oh, okay, fine. Let me hit you with some facts. It's called the death spiral. What is the death spiral, I hear, unfortunately, some of you talking about? Well, first off, you have new tech that comes out. What do you need to do? You need to get it into as many people's hands as possible. Now, how do you get something into people's hands? You have IPs for it. You have games for it. You have stuff for people to use with it. What's going on at the moment? Well, no one's really releasing games for it. So, that's the start. And then, what happens? There's no games. So no one buys the thing. And when they don't buy the thing, what happens then? The developers see that no one's buying it, so they don't make games for it. People see that there aren't games being made for it, they don't buy it. and so on and so on and so on until it's circling the drain and just gone from everything. That's the death spiral. It is literally no one's making stuff for it, no one buys it, no one buys it, no one makes stuff for it, no one makes stuff for it, no one buys it. That is literally it. It happened with the Kinect, it's happening with the Vita. Sony, seriously, that handheld console is freaking amazing. Do something with it. Just do something with the tech that you have. You made a TV that allowed two screens to be displayed at once at different angles depending on the glasses that you were wearing. You made a split screen television that gave each person a full screen, and you did nothing with it. Why? That would have been brilliant. That's amazing tech. I mean, for God's sake, Nintendo's got its 3DS. That thing's got 3D on it without the need for any of this crap. Even if it don't work brilliantly, but that's another story. So, this is another thing. We've got a huge high price point. We've got no faith. Developers haven't got faith in the consumers, and because of that, the consumers aren't buying it in massive numbers. They need to buy it in massive numbers, and they're nowhere near those numbers. And the fact that they're nowhere near those numbers is literally just again another problem factor that VR is having in this time. And then, not content to have all these barriers to entry, these stupid price points, and all this other nonsense, you then, I don't know, did Valve and Oculus have like a massive falling out or something? I'm not sure. Because all of a sudden, Oculus is saying, no, we want our own store. We want games that only work for our headset. Further dividing an already tiny user base between two different platforms. These aren't consoles, guys. These are the same thing. It's a thing you put on your head. It's to play games with. But no, now you've split an already tiny market down these two separate lines. It's like, well, why? Why did you do that? Why are you creating more confusion? Why are you creating more homework for the consumer? Why are you making it so that I have to go, okay, I have bought an Oculus Rift. Can I play this game on it? No? Okay then, well I won't buy that game then. Again, further putting less confidence in the developer. It just seems like, it's just like, I don't know, maybe am I overanalyzing this? Am I looking too deep into it? Am I overthinking it? Am I whinging for the sake of whinging? Most likely. Wouldn't be a surprise. But it just makes me think, why did you even want to divide it up even more? It's sort of like, come to the Oculus side. You don't want the HTC. Ours is much cheaper. Until you get the special game pads, and then it's exactly the same price, so it makes absolutely no cocking difference whatsoever. It's just a mess. To me, like, just from an outside point of view, just looking into this stuff recently, it's just a mess. It just doesn't seem like it needs to be this hard, and yet here we are. Just, I don't know. Maybe it's just recording now for a couple of hours, so I'm just getting a bit fed up of all the nonsense that's written down here, of all the stuff that's going on. I mean, they can't really be all that chuffed with what they're doing in the sales units. I mean, for God's sake, sales units are absolutely pathetic, really, in the grand scheme of things. Let's take the HTC Vive, for example. How many units total do you think that sold between April and October? Total. Between April and October. 140,000. Yeah. Apparently, that's the official release totals. And that just seems silly to me. That's nothing, in really. Let's put it in perspective. The Apple iPhone, they sell roughly 660,000 a day. A day. And the HTC Vive is sitting at 140,000 total. And I know a lot of people out there are thinking, oh, that's not too bad. That's pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic in the grand scheme of things. And Oculus Rift hasn't even released. They haven't even released any sales figures for the Oculus. It's like, what? Why? Is it that bad? Is it that bad? I mean, like, come on. They spent $2 billion to get Oculus, and they're gonna get their money back. They're gonna get their money back. But, you know, how are they gonna get that money back? How are they gonna earn $2 billion? Why would you pay $2 billion for something like that? That just seems like a ludicrous bloody purchase. Of course, the guy who owned Oculus at the time, he's not gonna say no to that, is he? Would you? Would you say? I mean, I probably would, because it's Facebook we're dealing with here. I'll happily say no to them, just out of spite. But I don't know. This whole thing seems out of place. And Zuckerberg, he stated that they needed to sell between 50 to 100 million units. That's their estimates. They need to sell between 50 and 100 million units. That's insane. That's like having a POF or Tinder account where you say you're 10 inches, but when it comes to game time, you barely stick past out your balls. Who thinks we need to sell 50 to 100 million units to get maybe some of our money back? You're not going to. You're really not going to. And in Forbes, there was this little statement that says, analysts are predicting major boosts for VR industry over the next few years. CCCS Insight states that the amount of augmented reality and virtual reality devices sold will increase from 2.5 million in 2015, don't know where they got that sum from, to a mammoth 24 million in 2018. With VR market worth more than $4 billion. Give me a break. That is just a prediction, and that's just a prediction to keep Facebook happy, to keep Valve happy, to keep the people who invested so much money in this stuff. And the irony is, I don't want it to fail. I want it to do well. And I can tell you how. Well, first of all, where has VR been used correctly? Where has it done some genuine good? Well, everywhere outside of the video game industry, basically. It's being used in medical research, it's being used in medical training, it's being used in architect design and planning, and showing people how things may look in a 3D space. It's outside of the video game industry that obviously has no idea what it's doing. It's actually being used well. It's being used smart. It's being used to actually improve other professions that aren't the video game industry. So that shows the tech can work. It's just that we've got a bunch of bumblefucks at the head of everything who have no idea what they're doing. They're floundering. They're panicking. You can tell they're panicking. But I don't like to be negative in all of these. I like to end with throwing a lifeline, so to speak. There are ways that this VR can survive, but it's going to all have to come from Valve, Oculus, and Sony. We haven't mentioned much about Sony, actually, in all this. Let's just backtrack a little bit to Sony. Sony, they've kind of got a good foundation with the number of PlayStation 4s out there. But there's this big confusion between, do you really need... Does like the PlayStation 4 handle it adequately, or do you need to go pro? Personally, I think they'd be daft if you had to go pro to get a playable experience out of it. No. I can't imagine that. But at the same time, they're not very good at advertising everything, because what do you think? Oh, I just need the headset. Wrong. You need the headset, you need the camera, and then you need the motion controllers. Oh, no. Those are purely optional. Yeah, bullcrap. Those are requirements. Those are advised peripherals, as they're listed. translated, you need them. You need to buy this. So what you got there? You got 350 quid for the headset. You've got 40 quid for the motion. You got 40 quid for the camera. Sorry, that's like the cheapest that I could find it. But the motion controllers were all over the place. I think the cheapest I found it for was 70 quid, and it's like it's like out of nowhere. I'm not going to say who, but someone was trying to sell a pack of two for £165, and the pack of two is what you could also get for 70 quid. So someone's taking the mickey somewhere. Basically, on average, without the console included, you're looking at about 460 quid on top of your console purchase. So you're maybe looking at about, if you're buying the console brand new and you want the headset and you want all the stuff to actually make it work, you're looking at 810 quid. I'd rather spend it on wine gums, if I'm honest. I really would. Silly money. Absolute silly money. But what can we do to help them? What can we do together, both as consumers, developers, and the people who built the stuff? What can we do as a whole to improve this situation? Well, first off, the consumer needs to be more willing to take a chance on these kinds of things. That's where it comes down to. It's a trust game at this point. It's a game of, okay, we will buy your stuff, but give us a reason. And at the moment, there really are no good reasons to buy these things. There's absolutely nothing that says they're going to give you these fantastic experiences, or at least guarantee it. And it's all subjective. So where to start? Well, this one's aimed purely at Oculus and Vive. Lower your prices. Yeah, you heard. Lower your prices. You're gonna have to take it on the chin. This is the risk reward with new systems. You are probably already losing money. You're gonna have to lose more. You're going to have to lose more. Because at the moment on these price points, it's too expensive for the consumer to take a chance on. It's just too much. You need to bring your prices down to at least less than the console, or less than a graphics card to actually use the thing. You need to keep it sensible. I'll give you an example. There's this little device that I picked up for about 140 quid. It's called a Tobii IX. Do you know what it is? You plug it into a USB port, fix it to the bottom of your monitor, and guess what? It works. And it works with most games, and it's brilliant. I took a chance with it. It paid off. I'm happy with it. I would happily suggest a Tobii IX or the new Tobii 4C. I don't care. But I find that to be far more viable than all these other things. And the reason why I took a chance on it is because it was under the £150 mark. Even then, that is still taking a chance. And of course, anything. But anyway. So, lower your prices. Secondly, try and remove the confusion for people. And if you're one of these people saying, you look it up on the internet, shut up. Marketing 101. Make it as easy to understand as possible. Okay? If people can't go into the shop and see what they need to buy, they done messed up. Okay? Sony. This one's actually aimed at you, Sony. Make packs that contain everything. Make bundles that have everything. Make console bundles that have the VR headset, the camera, and the 2 motion controls all in one. Make it sensibly priced and just get them out there. Just get them out there. Get them into homes. You've already got a massive good foundation, but start making bundles. Make bundles that are just the VR headset, the controllers, and the camera. Just do something to help people out. Okay? You're probably working on that by the time this comes out. Maybe something like that will exist. But we want, like, here's the thing: there isn't this you and us mentality. There isn't this war going on, so to speak. All you've done is make so many mistakes that we don't trust you. That's what it comes down to. Game industry, we don't trust you because you've gotten greedy. You've gotten bloated. You've become this unsustainable monster that requires ridiculous amounts of money from us, and then you wonder why things don't work out. I mean, come on. You have to kind of take it on the chin in the price part of it on this one. I know you don't like the sound of that. We need to lose money to make money? Yes, you need to spend money to make money. That's economics. That's a basis of it. You don't just spend $2 billion to have the thing. You need to use that kind of subsidy to just sort of cushion you during the integration period. $2 billion just to have the rights to it. Jesus Christ. And also, this one goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Make some games for it. I mean, come on, make some actual games. Not rail shooters. I know you're having to start over with design prospects because you're having to work to a whole bloody new control scheme again. But at the same time, if I can look at things like Elite Dangerous and just say, that works with VR right off the bat. Like, driving games are going to be great with it. Space flight games will be great with it. It's when you start getting into games that are a lot more elaborate. Like, I wouldn't play a third-person game with VR. What's wrong with you? It's got to be first-person for me personally. It's got to have an immersive quality to it. I don't know. Something with a horror vibe to it. That's just an idea. But at the same time, don't give us these haunted houses. Don't give us these things. Just try and just think of, well, here's a game that we have. What can we do to integrate VR into it? What, in a sensible way? You're going to have to think. You're going to have to think, guys and gals. But if you've sat here through this over 35-minute rant about a guy who just got incredibly pissed off with all of the tech demos on Steam just pushing out VR, well, I appreciate you sticking it through. I appreciate you listening. And I wish you all the best. Till next time, I will see you then. See ya!